In this video, I will show you how I installed, configured and tweaked my Plasma 5 desktop on Arch Linux. I have tried different distributions with Plasma 5, but KDE Plasma 5 on Arch Linux has been my best experience. Hello everyone, it's Arch Linux user. I make videos about how to install, configure, tweak and use Linux. Please subscribe for more Linux videos. This tutorial assumes you have Arch Linux installed on your system. I have already shown how to install Arch Linux in the video installing Arch Linux in less than 10 minutes. I'll leave the link in the description. If you have not installed Arch Linux yet, check it out. You may also find useful the video 10 things to do first in Arch Linux. See the link in the description as well. I prefer installing a very minimal Plasma desktop and then build up by installing only the packages I really need. In Arch Linux you can install Plasma 5 in 3 ways. First, you can install the group package Plasma. It will install the full Plasma 5 desktop, which includes around 40 packages. This option is probably the most optimal and flexible. You select what the Plasma group packages you want to install, and later you can remove any package if you want. The second option is to install Plasma Meta. It installs the same packages as the first option, but it joins all the packages together as dependencies, and thus it is less flexible. The advantage is, however, that if the meta package itself is updated with new packages, these packages will be installed automatically during the update. The last option is to install Plasma Desktop. This option installs very minimal Plasma Desktop. It includes only a key set of packages to make KDE Plasma 5 work. It even doesn't include a file manager. Given these 3 options, I would recommend installing Plasma Meta for users who like the shortest way and don't care if there are some extra packages on the system which are not used by a user. If you want full control of what you install and you prefer to keep it simple, install the minimal Plasma desktop and then build up. This is what an advanced user would do. The first option, to install the Plasma group, is somewhere intermediate between the other two. I will proceed with the last option, but this way you build the system you want and you get all the advantages of keeping your system minimal, and thus your system will be very fast. For example, my system with Plasma 5 boots in less than 10 seconds and uses less than 500 MB of RAM. I have shown how to install the minimal Plasma desktop in the video installing Arch Linux in less than 10 minutes, and the current tutorial is a follow-up of that video, but let me quickly remind you how to do it. You need to install Xorg and Xorg xinit. Then you need to create the xinitiation file. It has the name .xinitrc and placed in your home directory. The content of the file is exec start KDE. Then you install Plasma Desktop. I installed HDDM as a display manager and enabled it in systemd. In that video I also installed Console, which is a terminal emulator, Dolphin, a file manager, Firefox as a web browser, and Kate as a text editor. That's what I installed in the previous video. Now let's install some more applications, which I use on my minimal Plasma 5 desktop. First, we will install some theme tools. Type sudo pacman with option S, breeze-gtk, breeze-kde4, and kde-gtk-config. These are essential packages for the cohesion and loop between GTK and KDE applications. For example, this is how the GTK application GIMP looks in KDE environment without these packages. This is how it looks with these packages installed and configured. When you install these packages, go to Settings, Application Style, and in GNOME Application Style, set Breeze themes in all the fields. Now all GTK applications will look native in KDE. Another theme option I would like to share with you is how to make the login screen have a Plasma 5 look. I use sddm manager, which is recommended for Plasma 5. This is how it looks by default. Not very pleasant. To enable the Breeze theme in sddm, you need to edit its config file. Type sudo nano /etc/sddm.conf and in the section Theme, set the current theme to Breeze. Ctrl-O to save, and Ctrl-X to exit. Reboot. Now the login screen looks much better. Finally, install KDE Plasma-Addons. Type sudo pacman with option S kde-Plasma-Addons. It contains many Plasma widgets and plugins that will improve your Plasma experience. Second, we will complete our connection tools. Install the network manager and Plasma NM packages. I think it is obvious that the network manager is a network connection manager application. The Plasma NM package is a KDE applet to manage network connections. Then you need to enable the network manager. If you have any other network services enabled, disable them. I used dhcp-cd during my install, so I disable it. Type sudo systemctl stop dhcp-cd, sudo systemctl disable dhcp-cd. Then enable the network manager. Sudo systemctl enable network manager. And sudo systemctl start network manager. Also, make sure you have your hosts configured correctly. I showed how to do it in my Arch Linux installation video. I leave the link to that part of the video in the description. After you reboot your system, you should have a network applet working in your system tray. If you use Bluetooth, you need to install Blues and Blues utils packages. I don't have a Bluetooth, so I cannot show you how to configure it. I refer you to the Arch wiki for that. The link is below this video. If you need a VPN, depending on the service you use, you can install any of these packages. My VPN provider uses Cisco VPN, and I use OpenConnect to configure it, so I install OpenConnect and Network Manager OpenConnect. Then I can go to the network settings and set up my VPN. I believe it works similarly for other VPN services. Third, we will enable audio volume control. You need to have Pulse Audio installed. Again, I have to refer to my Arch Linux installation video where I installed all Pulse Audio packages. Also, for some media formats, you need GStreamer multimedia framework. I have shown how to install it in my 10 things to do first in Arch Linux. See the links below this video. Here you simply install Plasma PA, which is an applet for audio volume management using Pulse Audio. Restart your Plasma 5 by log out and log in, and you have a volume control on your panel. Fourth, we will install some KDE specific and desktop essential applications. This is what I install on my system, and I think any desktop should have most of these apps. I list them all as one command below this video. I installed Arc, a tool to work with archives, K-Info-Center, a simple tool that gives you the information about your system. K-Wallet Manager is a settings tool for your K-Wallet. If you don't know, K-Wallet is a KDE authentication management tool. It stores your password on the system. GwenView, a KDE image viewer. I also recommend installing KDE plugins. KDE plugins is the set of plugins that extends the functionality of GwenView and Digicam. If you have a large photo library, you would also love Digicam. It is a very powerful KDE photo management application. Of course, if you need to do any image manipulation, there is no better tool than GIMP. Spectacle, a KDE screenshot utility. If you work with graphic, you will also find useful K-Color Chooser and K-Ruler. You can use K-Color Chooser to get the HTML code for any color on your screen. K-Ruler can be used to measure anything on your screen. LibreOffice Fresh is an office suite. I think LibreOffice is the best, but you can also install any other Office program. For example, many people prefer VPS Office. You can install it from the AUR. Ocular, a KDE PDF viewer. I think Ocular is the best PDF viewer on Linux. Amarok, KDE music player. The music player is a matter of taste. I like Amarok. The best alternative in my view would be Clementine, but there are many other options. VLC, well, it is the best open source video player. SpeedCrunch, complex calculator. If you need to do some simple tasks like addition, division, etc., you can use Plasma Search plugin with Alt F2 and then do any calculation. But for more serious math, SpeedCrunch is the best in my view. Redshift. Redshift is probably a must-have application in any desktop. It changes the temperature of your screen according to the time. The screen colors are cold during the day and warm at night. It is very good for your eyes. It reduces eye strain and improves your sleep if you sit in front of your computer at night. For KDE you also need to install Redshift widget. It is available in AUR. I use Yaourt as my AUR manager, so I type Yaourt with option S, Plasma 5, applets, Redshift, Ctrl Git with option no confirm and install it. If you don't know how to use the AUR, I have a video about it, check it out. Then I simply add the Redshift widget to the panel. There are a few more applications I use, but I think they are not necessary for many users. For example, Compare, a very good KDE application to compare text files. KFind, an application to find files and folders. It is little extended in comparison to the search within Dolphin File Manager. KTorrent, a KDE torrent application. If you do downloads using torrents, KTorrent is a great torrent app. So this is what I think will be the most useful for majority of users. Also, I would like to mention that you can extend the functionality of your Plasma 5 by adding Dolphin Service menu. I have a separate video about it, I put a link in the description. For the end, I would like to say that Plasma 5 has many tools for configuring your system with graphical interface. For example, you can configure HDDM graphically if you install HDDM KCM package. But I prefer to keep things simple. I need to configure HDDM only once, so I can do it by direct editing of the config file, as I have done in this video. And probably I will not ever touch it again, so there is no reason to bloat the system with HDDM KCM package. Remember, the simpler your system is, the less likely things will break. Comment below if you have any addition to these recommendations. Don't forget to subscribe and give a like to this video. Thank you for watching.